Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. So Kevin Durant, as we all know now, went down with a horrible injury. Now, to making this video, we don't know the exact extent of that injury, but it does not look good. So I'm hoping for the best for KD out there. I know in the past I've been very critical, as a lot of us have out there, man. But I will say, like, just him going out there and representing his team like that, despite having injuries, I mean, it just goes to show, man, that Kevin Durant, I think, has come a long way from a character standpoint. And I think there's certain pros about him that we kind of overlooked over the years because some of the things that we were kind of frowning upon when it came to KD, man. So much respect to him on that. I will not speak ill will of his name on this video, bro, or probably any time in the foreseeable future unless he does something horrible, which I don't think he will, man. I think Kevin Durant, the worst is behind him, right? So for today's video, guys, we have a video by Nick Smith, or should I say Aaron. I know your real name. I mean, it's literally on your Twitter handle. Titled, The Truth About Kevin Durant, What Happens Next? Torn Achilles? ? I'm hoping it's not torn, man, because that's such a bad situation. So, yeah, we're going to check this out and see what the truth about KD really is. By the way, man, Nick Smith needs to get about 100K views a video, guys. Go subscribe to his channel, bro. What y'all doing, man? Go subscribe to Nick Smith. Dude makes great content.
So, Game 5 is officially over. The Toronto Raptors had a chance to win this series and win the game, and they failed.
Kyle Ellery.
But the worst news came out of the Golden State Warriors. Obviously, we already knew about Kevin Durant's injury, originally injured in the Houston Rockets series. And this was an injury where it looked bad, but he was still able to walk off the court, and he was limping around. But we all kind of thought maybe he had a chance to make it back.
Yeah, like it was just like a little strain or something.
Especially since it was about a month away from the finals and his return. In the end, though, that was not the case. Now, all of my initial worries where I thought that KD was returning way too early kind of simmered down. When I saw this dance by KD, I was like, okay.
Yeah, look at him go, man. Like that. Oh, man. I saw that. I was like, all right, he's fine. He's good to go. He's ready to ball out. And now it's just kind of like, well, now we watched this before that and stuff, man. Or like after what happened, just ugh.
Okay, because if you could do that dance, that would have a lot of pressure on the Achilles, and he seemed okay. Then he hit shot.
I do that damn dance right now. I tore my ACL.
And I was like, okay, maybe he's
right
back.
Now, man.
And then my initial thoughts slowly crept back into my head when I saw this play. Now, I'm giving you a warning here because I know some people may not want to see this. So I'm going to go and zoom in on Kevin Durant's injury.
I'm not a big fan of
the
image,
players
but
who have torn their Achilles.
I'll do it for you guys.
So I can show you the similarities, but I'm giving you a warning. If you don't want to see it, click off the video. What's actually crazy is that last year I had a partial tear in my Achilles, so I don't know the exact feeling that Durant is going through or any NBA player is going through. But I did know what I went through and my pain with an Achilles injury. And I play football and basketball, and obviously I'm not at an elite level like these guys are, but the same thing still applies. You're still moving laterally and you're still running around, jumping up and down. So that injury took me about 3 months to recover from. And even when I got back, I still felt like it was a little bit off. If this was not
it also kills your mental game too, I would imagine. Just because, like, you know, you might think you're fully healthy, but then, like, in the back of your mind, it's like, oh, like, what if I do that again? What if it gets worse? Like, I can imagine, like, the mental aspect again over something like that.
Elimination game, I did not see Kevin Durant playing. I just don't think you can go from barely training to playing the next day. It just doesn't make sense. Now, my friends and I were actually talking about this, and we were kind of giving different opinions on if it was the management's fault, or if it was the doctor's fault,
peer
or
pressure.
If it was the coaches, or
it was
the players.
Peer pressure.
Whose fault was it? And I just don't think you
fans.
can pin it down to one thing. I think you can look.
I disagree. I think it's us, the fans' fault. I think it's the pressure that we all put on Durant to play in that game because he's already has like the whole stigma about being a snake and stuff like that, and not being a true winner. So I think it was us as NBA fans. I think it was us that put that peer pressure on Kevin Durant to play the game. I think in normal circumstances, he probably would not have played at all. I think that's why Kawhi Leonard, Kawhi went through the same damn stuff out there when he was injured. It's like, he freaking gave the bird to everybody and said, you know what, I'm going to get completely healthy before I go out there and play game basketball. And it kind of worked out for Kawhi Leonard, I'd say. So I blame us, the fans, 100%.
Back on it now and be like, oh yeah, the trainer shouldn't have let Kevin Durant play, which is what he did since the initial injury. The trainer said there is no way Kevin Durant is playing. Kevin Durant obviously probably thought he was not playing either because he couldn't even get through practice 2 days earlier. So how could he come back in a full game the next day? I understand they have the best trainers, they have the best rehab facilities, but at the end of the day, an injury is an injury. It takes time to heal, especially in a lower calf Achilles area. So I don't think you can blame the Warriors management, and I also don't think you can blame Kevin Durant. If you're the star player of a team, and if you're an integral part of a team, you will want to play. You are wanting to help your team win a game, especially in an elimination game. If this is not a game 5 to win or go home, he's not playing. Simple as that, in my opinion. The Warriors did what they could for the opening 4 games, and they didn't allow Kevin Durant to play, even if he wanted to. But at this point, they said, well, you know what? We'll take a risk. If it pays off, it pays off.
A big risk for KD, though.
It didn't pay off.
KD risking the bag, though. Like, that's the thing. It's like, I think KD, he took on all the risk here.
But what does that mean for the Golden State Warriors? And what does it mean for Kevin Durant and the rest of this series? So firstly, let's look at the injury. The initial injury back in Houston. When Kevin Durant had that injury, from my memory and what I've been through, it almost feels as though that when you've torn an Achilles, even partially, it kind of feels like someone kicks you in the calf. In a weird way, like your calf just kind of pops. I don't think with that injury, though, there was any tear or any real bad injury. I think that was just one of those things that if you get an injury to your foot, Achilles, calf, it just takes time to heal. That's the main issue. But I don't think there was any tear. But obviously, I don't know. Now, obviously, the Achilles connects to the calf muscle. So if you have a sore calf, you have a higher chance to do something to your Achilles. Another way that an injury can affect you, even if you're not injured in that specific region, is, for example, if you have a sore foot, that can affect your walk, which in turn can affect your hip, your lower back, your calf, Achilles. It all kind of goes hand in hand.
It's crazy because, like, in, like, my calf area before, I've had issues, like, the last few times I played basketball. I don't really play as much as I used to. Like, I still shoot around stuff, but, like, playing, like, actual games. And I think it was mostly because I wasn't hydrated enough, because I don't typically drink enough water. Like, a lot of us probably don't. And I remember, like, my calves, so often I would play for, like, hours and hours. And then, like, towards, like, that last hour, like, both my calves would just, like, strain up, man. Like, it just felt like something was squeezing. And I would, like, collapse, where I could not walk anymore. I had to be done playing. But I think that was more dehydration. So, yeah. Doesn't really relate.
I learned this because my dad's a fitness trainer, and I also went through a torn Achilles last year, so I have a little bit of knowledge on the situation. Now, basically, to tear an Achilles, your calf or your Achilles has to contract
Warning.
It kind of pops in a way, and it's called the gastrocnemius muscle. And when that contracts, it almost pops, and that is what tears an Achilles injury. Which, in my opinion, if we go through history, we can see players and they've had that injury. You can look at Kobe, DeMarcus, Wesley Matthews, and a whole bunch of guys that you can clearly see they kind of spurt, and then that gastrocnemius muscle kind of shakes a little bit, and that is a telling sign of a torn Achilles. No one has come out and said that KD has a torn Achilles yet. They've just said he has an Achilles injury or a partial tear, but from my knowledge, and I don't have a lot of knowledge, I don't have a degree or anything in this area, it's just what I think that Kevin Durant has torn his Achilles. At the end of the day, he's a 6'11", skinny-framed guy who relies on his lateral movements and his quick darts to the paint and to three. So I hope that he didn't ruin his prime years through this game, but honestly, at this point, I'm a little bit scared. Because once you get one injury to an area like this, it just leads to more injuries around that area more frequently.
The thing about Kevin Durant is that, you know, he's got his rings. I know it's not a circumstance that we totally want in, but the thing is that Kevin Durant is so skillful as a player that I do think that he really could, going forward, could adapt his game and dominate the game in a different way. Like, if he just became, like, solely, like, a guy that does, like, pick and pops, I mean, Kevin Durant's still going to be the best in the league at that. So, while it does potentially kill his prime, I still think we'll see the greatness of Kevin Durant, maybe just in a different way. Just I know guys like Kobe Bryant. Like, I know he went a lot to, like, the post-up game and stuff later on in his career. Just did a lot of, like, less athletic-based things. And that kind of, well, I mean, Kobe did have his injury issues and stuff like that regardless. But, I mean, I don't know. I feel like KD's going to adapt very well.
Like, for me, after I tore my Achilles, I then returned and I had a break in my foot, literally based off what happened to me previously with the Achilles tear. Because I came back to sport and my foot wasn't used to it, I ended up breaking a bone in my foot, which I can show you right now.
Yeah, so this is going to be either a stress fracture of the fifth metatarsal, and the bone just cracks, right? And there's a slight difference in the shape of the navicular. It will take 5 to 6 months to resolve.
Damn.
And then I had all sorts of feet problems, literally based off the initial tear of the Achilles. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen to Kevin Durant, but I think we all kind of know that once you have an injury in a certain position, you have a higher chance of getting injured in a similar or the same position. Okay, now let's take a look at a few of the things that I noticed in this Game 5 game. And I'll give you my thoughts on the game and what I think happens from here, not including Kevin Durant. Obviously, the Toronto fans booing Kevin Durant, I didn't really like that. At that point, I kind of wanted the Golden State Warriors to force a Game 6 because
I don't like that the Toronto Raptors did that, but I think it was OSN that said if that was any other arena with any other fan base, they would have done the exact same thing. I mean, it's a matter of getting caught up in the moment. You know, I'm sure they're not proud of it in hindsight, but I feel like most fan bases in that circumstance probably would have done that same thing. It's unfortunate to say that, but that's just the nature of sports. I mean, Colin Cowherd also said that, you know, like we can't be judging the Canadians because they're doing this. Because us as Americans, you know, we go out there and we're freaking flipping cars and buses over and setting buildings on fire if our team loses or sometimes even wins. So, yeah, there's been some bad circumstances in USA sports history. So I'm over it. I'm over what the Raptors fans did. It was a moment of weakness.
Because I was just like, come on, man. How do you boo a guy who just really hurt himself? I just don't think that was cool, but that's just me. Obviously, I do want Toronto to win the series, but I just didn't think that was cool. Now, if the Raptors don't win in Game 6, honestly, I think the Warriors win the NBA championship.
I agree.
Now that
100%.
KD is out, it is a little bit interesting, but this is their chance. With Kevin Durant definitely not returning, the Raptors have a very...
You know, it's interesting without KD in there, but at the same time, it's like now, like, Curry and Klay, they don't have that, like, on, like, the back of their mind say, well, you know, like is KD going to play? Now they can fully focus on the game plan around Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, which historically is not a bad team. So I think if anything, it's going to help them out. I do think the momentum is in the favor of the Golden State Warriors as of right now.
Very strong chance to win Game 6, even though it's at Oracle Arena. They have done it. So this is their chance if they want to win an NBA Finals. Another reason is because the Warriors play better away than they do at home. So my predictions for Game 6, I think Kawhi has to drop 40 or more points to win this game. I think he's going to bring his team back. Where he kind of did that in this game where the Raptors were down. Kawhi hit about 10 straight points, brought his team back. They were leading at one point.
That was awesome. I love that.
And in the end, it didn't work out for them because they missed a whole bunch of shots at the end of the game. But I think that Kawhi's going to have at least 40 in Game 6, and I think either Gasol, Lowry, or Siakam has to have 20 or more points if the Raptors will win the series. If none of those guys have 20 or more points, they will lose. That's my prediction. If not, the Warriors will force a Game 7, and who knows what happens there. It could be the second team to come back 3-1 in the NBA Finals. Now, moving forward for Kevin Durant, obviously he's not going to return to this series. That's obviously not even a question.
But is there any chance? Because listen, we don't know the injury as of right now. Is there any chance that KD does return though? Like, what if it's just like he gets a result? This guy is just like, oh, you're fine. Like, no, it was just, I don't know. You're good to go. You're ready for the next game. You can play. That'd be absolutely insane.
He's definitely not returning. But I think it gives him a higher chance to stay in Golden State now, which is a little weird because just one injury can do that to a player. But, you know, we've seen what it's done to DeMarcus Cousins. It's been more than a year since that injury, and he's not himself at all. Kevin Durant, I think, just because of this injury, and depending on how bad it is, I think he might just stay with Golden State, honestly. I think if the Warriors lose this series and the Raptors win the NBA Finals, I think KD just says, run it back. Let's go again. Let's try and win a championship now. I think Curry and Klay and Draymond stay with him. I think DeMarcus obviously is gone. But if the Warriors win this championship, then I'm not sure. I think if the Warriors win this championship, I would say KD leaves. But it's really interesting. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about the injury.
I think that KD, if it turns out he's out for a long time, he obviously accepts the player options, $31 million. Like, you don't, because you're probably not going to get a better contract than that. It's like to just roll out the $31 million. Miss the season of basketball. I mean, it's a sucky circumstance for the Warriors, but it's the same circumstance as John Wall and the Wizards right now, where you're paying a superstar money, but they just can't play for you. So I think he does that. If it turns out it's like, okay, you'll be good in like 3 or 4 months, then I think it's business as usual. I think he ends up leaving the team. I think we all expected that, regardless of the results of this. But, so I don't think we are going to see Kevin Durant play another game for the Golden State Warriors. Like, that's just how it is. Unless for whatever reason that injury is, you know, he misses most of next season, but can play towards the end of the season. Then we might see KD again. But I think for the most part, I'm not so sure, man. But anyway, hope you guys all enjoyed this video. I know I did. Nick Smith is a beast, guys. Go check out his channel. Link to it in the description below. Give me your thoughts in the comment section below. And peace out, my friends.